So David Deida is a world-renowned spiritual teacher who has published a bunch of books that have helped both men and women advance in their lives both sexually and spiritually. His books have been translated in more than 25 languages worldwide, and his book in particular, The Way of the Superior Man, has been a deep influence in my own life. So in this video, I'm going to discuss 5 of my favorite ideas from The Way of the Superior Man. So, my first big takeaway from this book is to stop hoping for completion in anything of your life. Deida writes that there is no completion in life. As long as life continues, the creative challenge is to tussle, play, and make love to the present moment while you offer your unique gift. And this is an idea that I deeply resonate with because I believe in the concept of constant and never-ending improvement. All right, I believe that life is about conquering one mountain peak after another, and every peak you summit reveals the view to a completely new landscape. All right, so your potential, my potential, or anyone's potential for that matter, is something that is consistently a moving target. All right, because once you hit one target, then you move on to the next one, and on it goes. And based on my elementary understanding of neuroscience, neuroplasticity, which is basically the formation of new synaptic connections in your brain, can take place till the last day you have on earth. So as long as you're constantly learning new stuff, as long as you're constantly growing, then there is no end towards your improvement. And remember that if you don't use it, you lose it. So the key to life is to constantly strive for growth and improvement. Now, my second big idea from The Way of the Superior Man is to lean just beyond your edge. So Deida writes, in any given moment, a man's growth is optimized if he leans just beyond his edge, his capacity, his fear. He should not be too lazy, happily stagnating in the zone of security and comfort. Nor should he push far beyond his edge, stressing himself unnecessarily, unable to metabolize his experience. He should lean just slightly beyond the edge of fear and discomfort, constantly in everything that he does. So leaning just beyond your edge is what results in the state of optimal human experience, aka flow, as coined by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in his book by the same title. So the state of flow is characterized by a flow of creativity and productivity, a loss in the sense of time, a loss in the sense of self-consciousness, and overall just a feeling of effortless ease. All right, and studies showed that your ability to enter into this state can be characterized somewhat by your motivation. And there are 2 basic types of motivation. The first one is intrinsic motivation, where you're just motivated by the love of the process. All right, so think of a musician who just gets in the zone while he's just jamming out on his instrument, or think about a surfer who just catches a wave and is riding it with pure joy. And Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi describes the state of flow as the highest expression of intrinsic motivation, where you lose your self-consciousness, you lose your sense of time, and you are completely immersed in the present moment. And extrinsic motivation is when you are driven by external factors, for example admiration or fame, or even fear of losing out on something. And I mean, extrinsic motivation isn't bad per se, but it is definitely short-lived. All right, ideally you would want to have you would want to have both motivations driving you, whereby you are in love with the process, but you are also engaged with a coach or mentor or mastermind group that are holding you accountable and getting you to take consistent action. All right, now the state of flow is basically a balance between the challenge at hand and your current skill level. All right, when there's a match between the two, then you are basically just leaning slightly beyond your edge, and you are engaged in the process of reaching a level which you have never reached before, and it is also the level at which you will do the most amount of learning and improving and growing. All right, so the second big idea is to lean just beyond your edge. And that brings us to my third big idea from The Way of the Superior Man, and that is that if you don't know your purpose, discover it now. Deida writes, the core of your life is your purpose. Everything in your life, from your diet to your career, must be aligned with your purpose if you are to act with coherence and integrity in the world. So purpose is a bit of an elusive concept, all right? I mean, what's the purpose in life? What's my purpose in life? What's your purpose in life? This is something that really got me hung up in the past, and an idea that's really helped me is to look at purpose through the lens of your decisions, all right? So being aware of the desired outcome and then making sure that the decisions you're taking on a day-to-day basis are actually getting you there, all right? So with the example of diet, I like to eat the foods that give me energy, all right? And the energy to create the content that I'm creating, the energy to invest in my relationship that I have, and the people that I interact with and leaving them better than I found them. That comes down to the foods that I eat. Obviously, that's just one aspect of my energy, but that is being consciously aware of the foods that I'm putting in my body, all right? That's just nutrition. So overall, just think of purpose like beginning with the end in mind and knowing the outcome of every decision that you make. Ask yourself whether you are running on a program that is subconscious, whether you're going through the motions because that's what you've always done, whether you're reaching for your smartphone in the morning because that's just a habit that has become ingrained in you. So purpose is about being aware of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and making sure that what you're doing is getting you closer to where you want to be, all right? Because there's no stagnation, there's only moving towards something or moving away from something. And living with purpose means that you are aware of your day-to-day decisions and whether they are actually moving you towards where you want to go. And that brings us to my fourth big takeaway from The Way of the Superior Man, and that is to stop hoping for your woman to get easier. So Deida writes, a man should never think his woman's testing is going to end and his life will get easier. Rather, he should appreciate that she does these things to feel his strength, integrity, and openness. One of the deepest feminine pleasures in intimacy is to challenge you and then to feel your calmness and levelness to not be affected by her challenge and to not be thrown off course by her test, all right? And she wants to know that your happiness is not dependent on her response and that your capacity for love is not dependent on her validation, because the way that you deal with the chaos of the feminine is the way that you deal with the chaos of the world. And I'll just read out another quote that really drives this point home. So Deida writes, the game of life is to find each situation workable, to transform each occasion through the magnification of love, to give your fullest gift in every moment, and to have no attachments to the outcome, knowing it's all going to rise and fall and rise again. So yeah, everything is transient, nothing is permanent, and what you have to do is maintain your calmness and levelness through it all. And that brings us to my fifth and final big takeaway from The Way of the Superior Man, and that is that ejaculation should be converted or consciously chosen. So Deida writes, if ejaculation is not completely a matter of conscious choice for you, your woman knows she controls you sexually. And if she's in charge, she won't trust you enough to relax fully in the force of your loving. So most guys won't admit it, but the statistics point to the fact that the average sex session lasts less than 5 minutes, all right? And it was something like more than 50% of guys say that their sessions last between 1 to 2 minutes. And I actually read a poll on Reddit that had the majority of the responses said that their average sex session lasts less than 1 minute, all right? That is some pretty crazy shit. No guy will admit it, but to be honest, premature ejaculation is something that I've suffered from as well, and it's an area of my life that I'm working on improving. I'm not gonna go too deep into what steps I'm taking, but I will link out to a resource by Nat Eliason that goes deeper into how you can take the action steps in order to last longer in bed, all right? It's an amazing resource. I'll link out to it below, completely free on his blog. But yeah, the bottom line is that if you are not in conscious control of your ejaculations, you will not allow your woman to enter her true feminine essence. All right, so learn to control your ejaculations, and the way to do so is by checking out the resource below. So there you have it, 5 of my big ideas from The Way of the Superior Man, and I highly recommend that you order this book right now if you don't have it already, and read through it, because I'm positive that you will extract a number of nuggets of wisdom that I did not go over in this video. Alright, this book has been a deeply influential part of millions of men around the world who have gone around making impact, and it's been one of my most influential books as well. So I highly recommend you order it right now and go through it so that you can enter your path and purpose as a man and narrow the gap between where you are and the man you're capable of being. With all that being said, this has been Mo Salim, and I'll see you soon.